Lady, took me down to where I've been lately. Yeah, her love can make a person hazy. Praying she won't break me down, 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 down. She makes me crazy. Never promise anything, but maybe I let her do anything, let her play me. She makes me go another round, 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 round. What are you doing to me now? You found a way to me somehow. Now you're all I ever dream about. Since I saw you, there's no easy way out. Hear me calling out to you. It's all that I can do. Baby, I am falling. Can't you hear me calling out to you? That's all that I can do. Tell me that you want me. Tell me that you need me. Baby, I am falling. Baby, hear me calling. Baby, I am falling. Baby, hear me calling. Lady, took me down to where I've been lately. Yeah, her love can make a person hazy. Praying she won't break me down. Yeah. What are you doing to me now? You found a way to me somehow. Now you're all I ever dream about. Since I saw you, there's no easy way out. Hear me calling out to you. It's all that I can do. Baby, I am falling. Can't you hear me calling out to you? That's all that I can getting closer to midnight. I try to get closer to you, drinking courage from my red cup now. I will soon make a move. Ooh, I can taste it, the bittersweetness of taking a shot, a risk worth taking. If it's a shot of love, baby, I adore you. Maybe I adore you. Yeah, I'm feeling high, I'm up on cloud nine. Baby, I adore you. I try to focus on breathing. My heart is skipping a beat. Your lips against a red cup makes me lose my mind completely. Ooh, I can taste it, the bittersweetness of taking a shot, a risk worth taking. If it's a shot of love, baby, I adore you. Maybe I adore you. Yeah, I'm feeling high, I'm up on cloud nine. Baby, I adore you. Trying my best not to lose control. I want you, that's all I know. Trying my best not to lose control, 'cause I adore you, adore you. Trying my best not to lose control. I want you, that's all I know. Trying my best not to lose control, 'cause I adore you. Baby, I adore you. Maybe I adore you. Yeah, I'm feeling high, I'm up on cloud nine. Baby, I adore you. Trying my best not to lose control. I want you, that's all I know. Trying my best not to lose control, 'cause I adore you, adore you.
Mm, mm, mm. Oh, we're live. We're live. We're live, baby. What's up, everybody? Jason Brown here, stock market coach and options trader. And I just said, let's go live. This is the new thing. I'm enjoying just coming on here, going live, chatting with you guys. And so I was just thinking about everything that's going on in the U.S. economy, the trillions of dollars of debt, the pandemic, the shutdown, and man, it's a very interesting time that we're living in right now. And so I just want to pop on tonight. Thank you for joining me and hanging out. If you're watching the replay, make sure you smash that like button. So I've been playing around with some stuff. And let me see. Hold on. You guys ready for this? Like, I want y'all to, like, when you hit the like button and smash it, I want it to look something like this. It should just go crazy, right? Of like likes, hearts, thumbs up, all that good stuff. But so I was asking where's everybody from, and so far we got Judy here from Los Angeles hanging out with us. We got Enrique. I hope I'm saying that right. We got my man Enrique hanging out with us live from Maryland. So the live people, special shout out to you. Nancy in the building from Virginia. And then we got Leela checking in from the Bay Area. And then I don't know where it gets social butterflies, but they smashed that like button and gave us the thumbs up. So that's what's up. Got Get Social Butterfly, Houston, Texas. BJ hanging out with us from Texas. And then Yvonne. So cool. Well, welcome to the live stream, guys. So let's talk about it. The US is, man, we're printing money as if, well, here's the thing. We got to do it, right? So we technically we got to do it because we don't want the economy to go into just straight up free fall, right? So we don't want the economy going just straight up free fall by everything being, locked down, shut down, frozen, can't go out, spend money, can't go out and make money depending on what industry you're in. And so the government solution, right, rightfully so, is to print money that we don't really have, right? So we already are in debt. We technically don't have the money we're printing, but let me know your thoughts on this. You can let me know in the comments. I love to pop it up and highlight you, but I'm curious because I want to just be interactive tonight. I don't think we're going to look at any stock charts or anything like that. We just got to have a conversation, but I'm curious, like, how you feel about, like, the fact that we're in so much debt. But it's interesting thought. We don't have the money like when we need it, right? So like before the pandemic, it's interesting, like we don't have money to, I'm just going to use this as an example, like feed the poor or feed the homeless, for example. That's just an example. Or we don't have money for certain government projects. I know here in Michigan, we didn't have money to fix the roads. Like our roads are so bad. And it's like, well, we don't have money to fix the roads. But like the pandemic hits and like all of a sudden we have the money to, not only give people unemployment, but raise it by $600 a week. And so I'm just curious, what do you guys think about that? Because I'm not knocking it. I know we have to do something, right? We had to do something to help people out, stave off the economy. Maybe you're a recipient of unemployment, an extra $600. So I'm not knocking it. We definitely had to do something. There's definitely people hurting financially, businesses hurting. But what I'm trying to open up the conversation to is what we should be thinking about, though, is how does this money come back home? Because this money isn't just free. They don't just get to pull it out the air, give it to people, and it's like, don't worry about it. This money is just free. So as they say in the South, where my mother's from, the chickens are gonna come home to roost at some point. Does that make sense? The chickens are gonna come home to roost, and so I just wonder, how does this look on the back end, right? Because let's think through this for a second. We absolutely cannot have such high unemployment numbers forever, right? I mean, it's just unsustainable, right? It's not good for the economy. But we also can't sustain paying everyone an extra $600 who is on unemployment. So what happens is we have to, at some point, start to open up the economy. But the question becomes, with respect to the stock market, what happens to companies' valuations when we're quote unquote open, but are we really open? Does that make sense? So if you worked for a restaurant, for an example, and your restaurant used to seat 100 people, 200 people, let's just say 200 people. Okay, there's going to be this mad rush maybe when things first open. Like, oh, I want to go back out and eat. Maybe, I don't know. But the reality is when things open back up, the restaurant that used to could seat 200 people that now has to space people out and can maybe only fit 50 people in his restaurant at a time. That same restaurant, let's say they had 50 workers before the pandemic hit. There's no way that that restaurant needs all 50 workers back whenever your state or local municipality opens up. And so that is my concern long term, is that once things open back up, and the government at some point has to turn off the faucet and say, we can't keep giving everybody an additional $600. What happens when they turn that faucet off, yet not everybody's back to work? So now they're not getting the extra 600, and then they're still unemployed, but now they're not getting that extra $600. I think it's a week. So what happens at that point? I think another question we have to ask ourselves too, though, is unfortunately, most people aren't financially intelligent. And so what most people don't realize is that you still have to pay taxes on unemployment. Okay. So let me give you an example. Should I draw this out? Let me see. Maybe I'll draw this out. That way we can make this a little bit interactive. So let's switch. I'm going to switch full screens here, and then we are going to draw this out because I want to share with you an experience I had that was because someone had stolen my identity one time. So let me share my screen, and then let's walk through this example together. All right. So on my screen here, I was making, someone had I got a check or the government had reached out to me at the end of the year. Is my drawing tool not working? All right, give me 1 second. Got to make sure this thing is working, ladies and gentlemen. And all right, it might not be working. My drawing tool, I'll use my mouse. All right, here, we'll just use my mouse. All right. So here's what I want you to know, or here's what I want you to think about. So I got a bill at the end of the year for taxes owed. So I think they had said that I collected something like, let's just say $6,000 in unemployment. I don't think it was that much, but let's just say I collected $6,000 in unemployment, right? Well, I was never unemployed. So someone had stolen my identity or something and filed for unemployment. Okay. Now, here's the thing though. When they did that, I got a tax bill because let's just say I owe 30% in taxes. Okay. So you have to pay 30% times $6,000 for unemployment, right? I'm going to call it imp tax. Okay. Now, I don't know what tax bracket you're in. Everybody's going to be different, but let's just say you were in 30%. Most people are in 25%. So I owed $1,800, but I didn't really owe it because someone stole my identity. But I'm trying to make a point here. Here's the point I'm trying to make. Okay. Is that most people, when they get this money, I guarantee you they're not setting aside 10, 15, 25, 30% for taxes. I guarantee you. And so when I hear that some people are making more money on unemployment than they were making while they were working their job, I guarantee you they're not in a position to pay taxes like they probably should be. Does that make sense? So this was just an experience that I had. Someone stealing my identity. I got a tax bill for like $1,800 at the end of it. I'm like, how $1,800? Like, and then I told them, okay, if you cut me the check for $6,000, I'll pay you 18 because it's just simple math to me, right? I'm like, I'll take the 6,000 and I'll cut you a check back for 18, no problem. That's what 4,200 profit. But these are some of the problems that I foresee coming down the road with everything that's going on. So people are getting cut checks. I guarantee you they're not putting aside money to pay taxes on it, because unemployment isn't just money that's going to be forgiven. You are taxed on unemployment. So that's one of the problems that I see coming down the road. Malik says, I think they have been printing since the repo markets, then lower interest rates to zero, then removed the reserve requirements, then started printing trillions. The Fed began buying ETFs. That is very interesting that the Federal Reserve, there was a note out today that said they were buying like corporate ETFs. And if you're not familiar with that is, that's exchange traded funds. And so essentially we have the government entering the stock market, basically, in a sense, because that's what ETFs is, exchange traded funds. So you have the government starting to enter into the stock market. So what's that all about? So not only are we going up against each other or hedge funds, but we're also trading potentially against the government. So I don't know. That's interesting. Leela says the bait and switch that the government is doing is ridiculous. It is too much emotionally. Shouldn't there have been a plan already set up for stuff like this? You would think that maybe there should have been a plan set up for something like this. But so you got a couple different issues, right? You have people. You have the quote unquote economy opening back up, but is it really opening back up? That question is debatable because, again, no one's rushing back out to eat, rushing back out to get on the plane, rushing back out to take a cruise, etc. And then schools are already saying that, colleges here are already saying that fall semester at this point is looking like it's going to be online. So if the colleges are doing that, then what are the elementary schools and the junior highs going to do? And then what's that going to mean for the parent that still needs to find daycare because their kid isn't in school, but technically they're employed? However, they either need to figure out how to work from home with their employer or figure out how to pay for daycare or just somehow manage that whole situation, which is going to put a strain on their financial budget. But then you also have the economy, quote unquote, opening back up, but companies don't need as many employees as they did before the pandemic and COVID hit, and and the economy is booming. So you have, let's just say, half the workforce going to go back to work, or maybe, a third, maybe, 2/3, 3/3, 2/3 are going to go back to work, but there's a third that's not. And then the government can't keep sending them an extra $600 a month. And so there's some rumblings. I'm looking at some of these headlines and I'm thinking, this is interesting, right? So I'm looking at headlines such as, for example, one of the headlines was about REITs, or like real estate investment trusts. And they was trying to say like there's an inevitable default that is coming for real estate investment trust, which typically is commercial real estate. Okay. And so let me bring it home and make it simple. Let's go back to the drawing board. All right. Let me bring it home and make it simple. Just some things that I want you to think about. Let's bring it back to the drawing board. Okay. So what do we have? You have a mall. All right. It could be a strip mall. It could be, a clothing store mall. So you got a mall, right? Inside the mall, you have store 1. I'm going to call it S1. You got store 2, S2. And then you got, matter of fact, let me do this. Let me erase that. I want to draw the mall about right here. All right. So you got the mall, boom. Boom. And then you got the mall that is counting on the little stores inside that are renting space, right? So you got store 1, you got store 2, okay? And then you got store 3, okay? S3. Okay. And then these people are counting on humans, right? Check out my little stick figure. These people are counting on humans, okay, who may or may not be able to go back to work, okay? And at some point, unemployment's going to run out. So they're counting on these people to come in here and give them money, okay? But if you're not coming in here and shopping, why? Because number 1, we're doing it all online. Number 2, you may not have a job. Number 3, maybe you just don't want to spend money like that right now when you're in the middle of not being sure of what the future looks like. But S1, S2, S3, they're counting on you to come in here and spend money. Now, the mall is counting on these guys to pay rent, okay? They're counting on these guys to pay rent. First of all, who wants to pay rent if the mall is shut down? All right. So you're like, well, the mall shut down, so I'm not paying rent. Okay. So that's a problem. Well, then up here you have what? You got the bank. All right. And these guys loaned these guys some money to finance building that mall. Most people, I don't really know any mall owners who just rolled out of bed and paid cash for a mall. Okay. Most commercial properties, a McDonald's, a strip mall, a shopping mall, you finance it. You didn't just roll out and say, give me the land, develop it, give me all the equipment, employees, payroll. I'm just going to pay for it all cash. Right. And so these guys are anticipating these guys to pay their loan back. And so where is the problem? Where's the problem? If these guys aren't shopping and coming into these stores, these guys aren't making money. So they have the option to either close their store and just say, I'm not doing this anymore. Or they're like, I can't pay you rent. By the way, this just isn't a mall problem. This isn't a mall problem. How about, let's come over here. How about the gym? All right. How about the gym? These guys are losing revenue every single month, and we don't know when the gym is going to be able to open, right? Same concept. They probably have a building that they took out a loan from the bank, okay? And nobody's coming in because they're closed, right? So I could draw multiple different industries that are gonna have a problem, right? How about we come over here and do, how about restaurants, right? Cheesecake Factory was the first one to say we can't pay our rent in, I think, April. I'm not even sure if they were able to pay their rent in May, but that's very interesting. So you got restaurants, you got malls, you have gyms who all borrowed money to open these facilities, and they're either not open or operating at a capacity that's lower than what they're used to, and possibly not able to pay back their bank loans. And so what does this mean? What does this mean? I'm not an economist, but I am a common census. I don't even know if that's a real word. Not an economist, but I am a common census. It's something to think about, that do we have a potential real estate bust coming, but not in the traditional sense that, that like homeowners are going to be losing their homes. But what about the corporate or the commercial real estate, commercial leases, commercial purchases? I just wonder, is there a bust coming from that sector? And then you got to think about it from a bank standpoint. How do banks make money? All right. I want you to think about this. How do banks make money? Banks make money primarily by lending money. Okay. When you buy a house and you buy a house for 30 years, if you buy a house for $200,000 and you actually take 30 years to pay it off, you're typically paying $400,000 for that house. You're paying double over 30 years. Okay. Same thing with whether they loan money for a car. Now you don't end up paying double for a car because you end up paying off in about 5 years. But the bank's job is to lend money and to have people pay them low monthly payments over time that will end up having a future value of double of the amount that they loaned you today. That's the bank's whole game. But what happens when people start defaulting? So you're not paying back the money you borrowed, and you're not paying back the interest that they were expecting to make profits on a year or 6 months or whatever from now. So what happens then? That is a very interesting question. So how long can this go on before we start to see some type of collapse in the real estate market from a commercial standpoint? Okay. So it's really, really questionable. And if the banks aren't getting paid back, it's not like the bank can go repo a mall and like put a brand new mall in there and be like, okay, you defaulted. It's different. Like a homeowner, it's a lot of us. They could take the home back, put it on the market relatively quick, as long as there's no national housing crisis. They could take the house back, put it on the market. I'm laughing because Audrey says, here, we'll put that up there. Audrey says a 30-year mortgage is the biggest ripoff ever, right? And so the government can't technically take a mall back, a gym back, and just stick a new gym in there, stick a new mall in there. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, where is it at? Where is it at? Smash the like button, all right? Boom, there it is. Smash the like button. Give me some hearts, some thumbs up. But the government, or not the government, but the banks typically can't just take that property back and stick a new bank in there. You can't just stick a new restaurant in there. Somebody has to be willing to open up a new business, fund it, etc. And so if commercial real estate starts to default, how long before the economy picks back up and someone's willing to open a brand new brick and mortar business in an environment and in an economy where we're seeing it's now more important than ever to shift online? Does that make sense? So like everyone's trying to figure out how to shift online because of the pandemic. I think some people got caught with their pants down, realizing we don't have an internet strategy, right? And now with more people starting to shift online, who's going to be racing to go fill up these potential buildings that may default? I don't know. It's very interesting, right? So let me give you another thought too. And so there's this saying that goes, if you stay, you don't have to get ready if you stay ready. All right. And I think this pertains to a lot of things in life, right? You could think about it in form of the stock market, but I want to give you a more tangible example. Like forget the stock market for a second. Let me give you a tangible example of if you stay ready, then you don't have to get ready. All right. So let's go back to the drawing board. All right. I want you to think about this little company called Amazon. Okay. Now, I want you to think about this. Do you think Amazon knew that a pandemic was coming? I don't think so. All right. Amazon didn't know that a pandemic was coming, but what has Amazon been working on that puts them ahead of the game? Okay. So number one, okay, they've been working on delivery. Okay. That's their core business. Order it online, ship to your house. Okay. But they took it a step further and they were trying to work on what? Next day delivery. Okay. So why is this important though? Why is this important? They may not have known that a pandemic was coming, but if you stay ready, then you don't have to get ready. And so if Amazon can nail down next day delivery, they are so prepared for situations like this where they can get you groceries in 24 hours the next day or same day delivery. And so these guys have been frantically building out an ecosystem of delivery, of hubs around the world. And then they bought, Whole Foods. Then they bought Whole Foods. And so you might look at Amazon like, why are they getting into the food business? What are they doing? I don't know that they saw this coming, but by preparing, they're in a better position to withstand it. So they bought Whole Foods. They're trying to do next day delivery. But here's the big one that I think people were sleeping on Amazon about, that they were better prepared than anybody else. Has anybody been paying attention to the Amazon touchless stores? I don't know if that's like the real name for it, the Amazon touchless stores. I don't know if that's the real name for it. All right. But the point is, Amazon has these stores, and they're like in test pilot stores. They have these stores where you just walk in, pick up what you need off the shelf, right? And like you have like an app, I think, on your phone and stuff. And then you just walk out and it just bills your credit card, or it just bills your phone, or whatever type of account you have, right? And so I think about that and I think, oh my goodness, I don't think they sat down and said, if a pandemic hits, this will be great. But they started to think about the future. And it's like, what about a world where you don't necessarily need to interact with a person taking your cash and can possibly, deliver saliva and pass a coronavirus? They're called cashless stores. All right. So Rot Pneumonia, I hope I'm saying that right, said it's called cashless stores. So think about the head start that they have and the ability to possibly deploy these stores. Now, I'm not saying they're going to roll out these stores like next week, but if this becomes the new normal, or if we're ever worried about another pandemic, can you imagine that these guys are already positioned to do next day delivery, deliver groceries, as well as if you have to go out to a store, they can promote, you can shop here safely. You don't even have to interact with anyone. Just go in, grab it, walk out. Like, crazy, right? And so what am I trying to say? What is the message in all of this? The message is, you never know when you're going to need some information. Okay. I'm trying to put it in human terms, right? Amazon didn't know when they were going to need next day delivery. And maybe they did. Maybe they have foresight because they're dealing with so many people and they see the trends. But what's cool is they never knew when they were going to need to have a touchless store. But by preparing and testing and getting ready, they're prepared to weather this pandemic, this storm, and anything that comes next. How does that relate to you and I? Okay. When you think about the stock market and making money, like, I can't tell you how many people are now trying to figure out how to make money online. I know gym owners that are trying to figure out how to do gym workouts online. All the companies are scrambling, trying to figure out how to do Skype online, how to get their employees to be able to work from home. And it's the same thing with like the stock market. Like, sometimes when you got like a good job, right? Everything is going okay. You get your paycheck every 2 weeks. You start to think, why do I need to learn how to invest? Why do I need to learn about call options or put options? Or, why do I need to learn any of that stuff? And it's not until, why do I need to have a 6-month emergency fund? Right? I guarantee you, I don't care if you're driving a Cadillac or a Mercedes-Benz or a Lamborghini, we're all in the same boat. There's nowhere to drive it to. There's nowhere really to pull up to a club in your Lambo and let the door up because all the clubs are closed. There's nowhere to drive it to work and show it off as you pull into the work parking lot because, some places are open, but like most places are closed. And so, but there is a need right now for a 6 to 12 month emergency fund. You know what I'm saying? There is a need right now to figure out, okay, how do I manage my portfolio? How do I manage my investments? Or if you're not in the market, how do I get into the market at this time? And here's what's crazy. I wouldn't say the word is crazy, but so Richard is a great example. I want to use it as an example. All right. So Richard just said, I just started learning stocks because of the pandemic. ladies and gentlemen, here's what I want you to take from this broadcast, whether you're watching it live or the replay. Here's what I want you to take from this, okay? There is, when you're trying to learn, most people don't think about the learning curve that it takes to do something. So I want to make sure I drive this home. Most people will say something like, I would learn the stock market, but it's going to take too long. Okay. And then when the pandemic hits and everything sells off, then people are like, how does put options work? How do call options work? And then you also got people on the other side that's like, I heard everything is at a good price. How do I get into the stock market because everything fell to a good price? And here's the problem with that sometimes. I'm excited that it brings new people to the market, but ideally you should have been preparing when you didn't need it. Does that make sense? You should have been preparing, or you should consider that you should have been preparing when you didn't need the investments, when you didn't need the stock market. There's this one line from Jim Rohn, and not the football coach, but Jim Rohn, the motivational speaker who passed away. And one of the things he said was, we have to be like the ants. And I said, he's like, what does that mean, right? What do you mean you have to be like the ants? And if anybody knows anything about ants, what do ants do in the summer? If you think about an ant, if you've ever seen an ant pile, ant farm, you've come across some ants in the summer, what do they do? All right. And so Jim Rohn said, you have to be like the ants. And what does he mean? He's simply saying, he said the ants think winter all summer long. I'm gonna let that sit with you for a second. The ants think winter all summer long. Okay. And so my girl Audrey is on it, right? And so the ants are always moving. In the wintertime, the ants are not fooled in the summertime, the ants aren't fooled that the sun is shining and everybody's out having fun. No. The ants are working. The ants are grabbing pieces of bread and taking it underground and they're storing it, okay? Because they know that there's going to be a day that comes that it's going to be cold outside, that there's going to be no food around, okay? And so they're I won't say frantically, we don't have to run around scared and crazy, but I'm saying they're working diligently. That's the word I'm looking for. The ants are diligently taking food and they're storing it underground because they know that there's a day that's going to come. They don't know the day exactly, but they know that there's a day that's going to come where it's going to be cold and you're going to need food and things aren't going to be all, fun and green grass. Does that make sense? And so what Jim Rohn was saying, we as humans have to be like the ants. We have to think winter all summer long. And what does winter mean in our life? Winter means when things are, first let's go see what summer means. Summer means you got that raise at the job. You're doing well financially. You're doing okay. That's not always the time to say, I'm going to go buy a new car. I'm going to go buy a new purse, right? And so we have to start thinking winter and saying, the storm isn't here. At least if you go to church, you go feel me on this one, right? They always say in church, okay, you're either in a storm, coming out of a storm, or getting ready to go into a storm, right? I know I can get some amens for that, right? All right. So you're either in a storm, coming out of a storm, or getting ready to go into a storm in your life, okay? And so we have to, in the good times, start to think, maybe I should be learning this stock market stuff. Maybe I should be learning how to put some of this money to work for me instead of spending it. Because when the opportunity finally comes, most people are then like, I need to learn how it works. And I won't say it's too late, but the people who are making the money are the people who already knows how it works and they were just waiting for this opportunity. Does that make sense? All right. These are the people who are just waiting for this opportunity. Give me a thumbs up, smash the like button if that makes sense. And so you want to be prepared so that when the opportunity comes, they say an opportunity is only, I like Pastor Brown, right? No, but they say that an opportunity is only as good as you're prepared for it, right? The opportunity is only as good as you're prepared for it. I tell people this all the time. People say, I'll learn the stock market once I get some money. And I say, okay, you mean to tell me if you came across $100,000 tomorrow, now you want to start to learn, you wouldn't even know what to do with it, right? Or people say, I would invest if I had money, or I would learn how to invest if I had money. But since I don't have money, I won't learn. And I think that is the most selfish thing that you could say to yourself, to your family, to your future financial self, is that because I don't have any money, I won't learn about it right now. It's like, so even if you came across $100,000 tomorrow, you still wouldn't know what to do with it because you're waiting till you get the money to actually learn. But what you don't realize is once you learn how money works and you learn how to invest, you'll actually find a way to come up with $5, $10, $20, $30,000. Does that make sense? Because once you learn how money works and you see the opportunity and the potential, you'll actually find money, and you'll be willing to sell that big screen TV now, because that's not a big screen TV. That's $1,000 that I can put to work in the stock market and bring in some money, or whatever the case may be, whether you're investing, running a business, whatever the case may be. And so is money the true measurement of wealth? Is money the true measurement of opportunity? Or is knowledge and having the information the true measurement of opportunity? Like if you check out some of my YouTube videos and you go through the comments, you'll see every now and then one of the stupidest, and I'm going to call it what it is, one of the stupidest comments that most people make when they watch a YouTube video on finances or money, or at least in my opinion. Okay. And I did a podcast about this. By the way, if you're not familiar with the Money Markets and Podcast, let me plug the podcast. Spotify, all the major platforms. All right. So if you're not familiar with the podcast, check it out. But I did a podcast and I talked about like what is expensive, like being careful of your words, because people will use the words, and you'll see in some of my videos, people will be like, oh, I see you sell a course. That course is expensive. And in my head, I'm thinking, first of all, define expensive. Because in my opinion, I have a college degree, but a college degree is expensive. I'm going to pay $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 for a piece of paper that has an earning potential of $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 if I can get a job. And if I can get it, there's no guarantee that I won't ever get laid off or a pandemic won't hit and they might not need me anymore. So in my opinion, that's expensive. But then we'll take like a course it could be $600, $2,000, $3,000, doesn't matter. Okay. Totally a fraction of the cost when you compare it to the cost of college. Okay. And even cheaper when you compare it to the cost of ignorance. Okay. You think having the information is expensive. Try not having the information. Okay. Let's see how much that costs you. But when you really think about it, what is expensive? Some information for anywhere from free. We give out a ton of free content on YouTube, all the way up to $2,000, $3,000 for a course that can help you earn with the information, potentially earn unlimited amount of money, potentially earn as much money as you want. But yet people will say, that's expensive. And so then I'm curious. We got to draw this out. Can we draw this out, my people? Let's draw this out. All right. Because I don't know if people realize what they're saying. I don't know that they realize what they're saying. Let's draw this out. All right. Let's just say, okay, let's just say there is information. Okay. There's information. Okay. And this information, if you have the right information, it has the ability to potential to make unlimited amount of money. Okay. And I'm drawing this with my mouse because I don't know why my drawing tool is not working, but that's supposed to be a money sign. Boom, boom. All right. So you have the potential to make an unlimited amount of money. Okay. You have the potential to, let's keep going, control your own destiny. Control your own destiny. I'm just going to write the word destiny here. All right. You have the ability to control your own destiny, right? You have the ability to secure yours and your family's financial future. Okay. And we could just stop right there. So I'm going to ask you a trick question. Not a trick question, but here's what I'm getting at. Everybody that can hear the sound of my voice, live or the replay, let me ask you just a simple question. I'm going to ask you two questions, okay? Number one, first question I would ask you, if someone said, you have the ability to make, I got some information. You have the ability to make an unlimited amount of money. You have the ability to control your own destiny. And you have the ability to secure your family's financial future. And then they followed it up with and said, but let's just say it was a genie. Genie said, you get 3 rubs, right? And you can get unlimited money. You can control your own destiny. You can secure your financial future. But in order to get to the genie, there's a lamp. It exists. The gatekeeper says you must pay to get to the genie to get 1 rub. How many people... let me ask you this. What price is too high to get to the genie to rub that lamp? I just want somebody to tell me what price is too high. Does that make sense? Unlimited money, control your own destiny, secure you and your family's financial future. At what point would you say, and if the genie said, it cost you $3,000, at what point, I don't want to throw out a number. I shouldn't have thrown out a number, but I just want to, at what point would you say that's too expensive? Am I making sense? But that is what we do every day as people. Okay. And then here's the second question. If one of your friends came to you and said, hey friend, okay, this genie said I can rub this gatekeeper said I can rub the lamp, okay, and I get 3 wishes. I could get unlimited money. I can control my own. I could have the potential to make unlimited money. Okay, no guarantees. I got the potential to make unlimited money. I can control my own destiny, and I can secure my financial future, mine and my family's financial future. And your friend said, and you said, hey, so what'd you do? And your friend said, but it cost $299. So I was like, that's too much. So I just passed. Like, what would you say to that friend? Right? What would you say to that friend? You'd be like, come again? Right? You'd be like, dude, are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? But guess what? People do it every day. I kid you not. Go read some of the comments on my YouTube videos. People say stuff like, I saw your old video when the course was this price. So, man, if you ever have a sale, I'll buy it. And I'm thinking, okay, if you truly believe that this information can make you $10,000, you're going to wait for a sale to spend, I don't know, a couple hundred to a couple thousand. But you're going to sacrifice the ability to make $10,000 because you're waiting for a sale or you're waiting for a discount or because it wasn't the price that it used to be. Am I making sense? We do this all the time. But guess what? Guess what, though? If we go to that person's house Guarantee you there's an Xbox for like $600, right? There's a flat screen TV on the wall, probably paid $1,000 for it from Best Buy. Am I making sense? We could probably go to that person's house and find some things that is not making them money. We could go as simple as a car. If you think about most people cars, what is a car designed to do for you? It's designed to get you from A to B. So in theory, this is just I want your brain working tonight, right? And then we'll get ready to wrap up. It's almost midnight. But in theory, when you think about a car, what is it designed to do? It's designed to get you from A to B. So in theory, do you absolutely need a Cadillac or a Tesla or a Lamborghini or a Bentley or a Mercedes-Benz? If the true purpose, if you needed to come up with some extra money and the true purpose of a car was to get you from A to B, is it possible you could downsize your car and have the money to get the information or have the money to come up with to invest? But we won't do that because we're afraid of what our friends may think of us. They go think we fell off, right? Fell off. Okay. Right. They go think we fell off because we downgraded our car. Your friends, depending on who and this is a good time when you think about this, you really have to question who are your friends. Because if you told your friend right now, I think I'm going to downgrade my car. Yeah, I'm driving a Mercedes. I'm going to get the cheapest car possible that, as long as it starts, has heat, air conditioning, and can get me from home to work back, or wherever else reliably. Might not do it with leather seats. Might not do it with a touchscreen. Okay. Might not do it with tinted windows. It might not do it with chrome wheels. But none of that matters with respect to getting from point A to B. I'm going to downgrade my car and I'm going to get into the stock market. If you have a friend that says, and it's not just the stock market, whether it's I'm going to go back to school and get my nursing degree and I need to do this to pay for it, whether it's you're in construction, you're going to get your builder's license, whether you are going back to law school, this doesn't just apply to the stock market. But if that friend doesn't say, go for it, that's the smart move. In 3 to 5 years from now, you'll be able to not only buy that car back, but a better car. You'll be in a better situation. If that's not what your friend is saying, you really have to question, like, who is your friends? Am I making sense? Because some friends will be like, he fell off or she fell off, talking about she going back to school. She ain't really going back to school. She just couldn't afford that note. And so that typically keeps us from doing what we need to do sometimes, guys. What we need to do sometimes. So anyway, we were supposed to talk about the U.S. and this $1 trillion of debt and what's next for the little guys. We did talk about that a little bit. And we talked about that a little bit, and then we went off on some tangents. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. It's been fun. Yvonne says, what is cheaper, your course or a student loan? That's what I'm saying. Martin Management said, not too expensive, providing those options are granted or guaranteed. So here's what's interesting, Martin, about that, right? Nothing is guaranteed. So even if you get a degree, are you guaranteed a job? Ask any college student that's graduating this year in the middle of a pandemic. They're not even guaranteed to walk across the stage. If you're a high school senior, you weren't even guaranteed a prom this year. Okay. So there are no 100% guarantees in life. So I thought that comment was great, because some people will look at it and say, some people may watch this on the replay and say, well, at least with a degree, I'm guaranteed I'll get a job. Really? Are you? There's no guarantee with the right information you'll make money in the stock market, right? Because you still got to apply the information. There's other things that go into whether or not a person is successful at anything or not. But when you think about a degree or any information, there is no guarantees. And even if you get a job, ask anybody that's laid off right now, is there any guarantee that you'll keep your job, right? But here's what I can guarantee you. I can guarantee you that when you have the information, no one can ever take that away from you. Now, it's up to you how you use the information, but I guarantee that once you have the information, that nobody can take it away from you. They can't. No one can take it away from you, right? And so you have that information forever. And let me ask you this. Okay? And I'm not job bashing. I think jobs are important. We need jobs. But let me ask you this. Can you pass your job down to your kids, or can you pass knowledge of how to budget, how credit cards work, how stock market investments, how business works? Can you pass that down to your kids for generations to come? And the answer is yes. Can you pass your job down to your kids? Can you pass your pension down to your kids? The answer is no. The moment you leave this earth, your job leaves with you, your pension leaves with you, your insurance, once they pay out that one-time payment, that's over. But knowledge and information stays with you a lifetime, guys, because you can pass that down to your kids and to your kids' kids. So thanks for hanging out with me. I'm going to end it on this note. If you're not familiar with the stock market, if you're not familiar with how it works, we put together a stock market starter pack, and I want to just share a quick video with you, and then we can wrap up. But get started. There's free resources, there's paid resources, but more importantly, work on your mind, work on your mindset. How do you see money? How do you see opportunity? Are you one of the people that you're going to only get ready once something happens?